Hi, I'm Wayne and this is Bassador Woodworking. Today I'm finally going over the drill press table. Those who have been following the channel for any amount of time will recognize this. This is my Craftsman 113 15.5-inch drill press. I got this for free in non-working order off of Facebook Marketplace. I spent a couple of days completely restoring it and making it functional again. And this is an excellent drill press. It's good at pretty much everything. I've even done some light milling on this because it has a screw-on drill chuck, so it's built to do some light milling. So I've milled some like aluminum and stuff like that for guitar pedal boxes, things like that. But the only thing that has always been a problem with this drill press is that the table is incredibly heavy. The table itself is probably close to 30 or 40 pounds. It's solid cast iron and it's heavy. It is a full upper body thing every time you need to adjust it on its own. So originally I just had a trailer jack mounted to the back of the table, and I would use that to raise and lower the table just by cranking it, and that worked really well. But I'm constantly moving things around in this shop, and where the drill press ended up made it very hard to reach behind it constantly to crank over the trailer jack to raise and lower the table. So I decided to take some cues from some other videos I'd seen online and to motorize the table to this drill press. And this is what I came up with. There are a lot of people online who have motorized their drill press tables, but most of those have been permanent changes to the drill press, irreversible in other words. I wanted mine to be completely reversible in case I come up with a different idea, I don't like it, or whatever reason. I want to be able to restore the drill press back to stock without having to, repair things afterwards. So this is completely removable, and it uses no bolt-on, it doesn't alter the drill press in any way. With one tiny exception that doesn't really affect much of anything. But it just uses a linear actuator that's made for like a reclining chair. It's a 12-inch linear actuator. I will link it down below. It uses a 12-volt power supply and a momentary up and down switch. And it is incredibly simple. It's just push it when you want it to go down, release when you want to stop, push it when you want it to go up, release when you are done having it raise. It's incredibly easy. I'm not going to disassemble the whole thing in this video, but I will basically show you all the parts of it, why I arrived on those parts, and basically how I installed them. The first piece of hardware that I decided on in this project was the linear actuator itself. Everything else is based off the functionality of the linear actuator. I first had to determine how much travel I wanted in the table. I thought 12 inches was more than sufficient. I do lose some ability to have the table all the way down, but that's a very rare circumstance. You're not going to really drill a shallow hole in a very tall thing very often. So I was completely fine with losing about half the travel of the table down to the bottom. The only times the table had ever been down here was when I dropped it and it slid down, and then I had to lift its ass back up all the way, and it was a pain. So perfectly fine with 12-inch travel. Could probably change it, and if you wanted to reduce it a little bit, whatever. The weight rating on this was more than sufficient for the table. I wanted it to be able to raise and lower the table, along with I have a cross-slide vise that I'll sometimes mount up on the tabletop. I want it to be able to raise and lower that without issue too. And this one more than meets those specs. It's very easy. Mounting the linear actuator was actually the largest problem to solve in this project. When I was using the trailer jack, I just basically welded on a V that just sat and nestled this right here and would just lift and lower it. That worked great. I wanted something slimmer in profile for the motorized version of this. I just thought that it could be more elegant. So in my case, I just took and widened out one of these mounting holes for this drill press. Had basically a setup where you can mount a like a rotary table onto this end of it, and you could rotate it in and out for different setups. I don't have that table, and it's incredibly hard to find it online, so it's never going to have one. So I just widened out one of these holes and tapped it for a bolt that I had laying around. You could just put a through bolt and a nut on the other end, whatever is easiest. I just decided that was a small concession to my not modifying the drill press that I was willing to concede on. I wanted a nice strong bolt here, and it was one I had in stock, so I just drilled it out and tapped it to the threading. It's all cast iron. It's very easy to drill and tap, so no problems there. Bottom end of the linear actuator actually caused the most issues for me. Originally, I was going to mount this the other way around, so that the barrel end of the linear actuator was pushing up the rod, and that would raise and lower the table. Once I figured out how to mount this, it all made sense to flip it. So here, I'm just using pipe hangers, 2 of them, to mount the linear actuator to the pipe. It just uses a couple of M6 bolts that I just bought, the hangers and the bolts to go in them on Amazon. You do need 2, otherwise it will rack as it's going up and down. So you just need to put 2, clamp them relatively tight. This thing's solid, it doesn't move at all, and it's also reversible. All I need to do to take this off is remove 4 bolts, and the bottom half of this just releases. So this entire setup can be removed from the drill press by just removing these 2 hangers and the 1 bolt at the top, and then this whole thing comes off as a unit. Next, I just needed a simple DC power supply to power the linear actuator. This is just a 12-volt power supply that I bought on Amazon. It was reasonably priced, and its reviews were good. It didn't have reviews like it catches fire or anything like that. DC power supplies are one of those things where it's probably better to spend for a mid-range one instead of the absolute cheapest one you can find, because they catch on fire. So this one, perfect. It's worked, no issues. Next, I just needed a controller for it. I tried a few different kinds of just momentary switches and stuff like that. This is the one that I settled on. Full disclosure, I did replace the buttons in it because the buttons that came on this were on-off buttons, not momentary buttons. It was a very easy swap. It was just a 1-for-1. I just unsoldered the buttons that were on there, soldered these new buttons on. I would just recommend finding something that is a momentary switch, not an on-off switch. So basically the way this was originally set up is you'd hit the green button and it would stay on until you hit the other button. So the only way to cancel up would be to hit down. The only way to cancel down would be to hit up. If you're fine with that, fine. Like, you can do that. I prefer to just have directional buttons. It's more intuitive for me. It goes without saying, all of these parts will be linked down below in the description of the video. Once I had all my components, all I need to do is build a simple box to just ride over the linear actuator, and it just had to be no longer than the top half of the linear actuator. That way it wouldn't interfere with its own travel. And then it was just some basic cable management, using an old bandsaw tire just to hold the extra cord there. I debated wiring the power for this and everything directly into the drill press itself, and then just basically putting a regulator to step down the 120 voltage to 12 volt to power the linear actuator. But that would go against the whole removable portion of this. It would basically make this a permanent fixture part of the drill press. So I decided I don't mind having 2 plugs go into the wall for the linear actuator and for the drill press. notice it does have a lot of travel. So this is the upper limit, then the lower limit. Even with the limitation of 12 inches of travel on the linear actuator, this is still more than enough for 99.9% of drilling operations anyone would ever need to do. So I'm extremely happy with the amount of leeway that I have. The thing has no problem raising and lowering the table, and it's also not all that loud when it is doing it. Like, it moves at a good pace. It's not really... I have no complaints about it, really. And it is strong enough that it won't collapse on itself, but I do still lock it just to take the pressure off of the linear actuator and to kind of hope to, you know, make it last a little bit longer. So that's it. I mean, it's a very simple system. I mean, it just uses some pipe hangers. They come in like 6 packs. They're not expensive. And then just a single bolt to hold the top end of it. A pretty cheap 12 volt 60 watt power supply, a 12-inch linear actuator, which I think was like $40 or $50. It was the most expensive thing in this. And that was because I decided I was definitely going to buy a higher quality one. One that basically advertised it didn't need maintenance, because I knew that this would be in a very dusty environment all the time. The relay module for the up and down buttons was incredibly cheap. I think it was like $4 or $5. This was all over a year ago. It figures that the one project I decided to not film the process of is the one that I get the most questions about. But I did commit in the comments that I would film a video about it. So this is that video. If you have any questions about it, please put them in the comments down below. I'm happy to answer questions. But other than that, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date with new projects as they are released. Things like this I'll be sure to film in the future. But thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.